The Day the Empire Met Its Equal, a story of ancient authority and the species that refused to bow. The Watchers. The deep space surveillance outpost floated in darkness like a forgotten monument, its sensors reaching across the void, monitoring emptiness. For 300 years, it had watched the same barren sector, recording asteroid drift and distant stellar phenomena. Nothing ever changed in this forgotten corner of the galaxy. Commander Vexar paced through the main control center, his cobalt-scaled skin catching the dim lighting as he inspected each workstation. His crew, mixed species from across the Commonwealth, worked quietly at their posts, tracking signals that came from nowhere and meant nothing. "Another tedious rotation," muttered Specialist Kyra from long-range sensors. Her compound eyes clicked as she adjusted settings for the 100th time. Nothing but cosmic radiation and solar winds. Vexar nodded with resignation. As a member of the Galactic Commonwealth fleet, he'd hoped for more exciting assignments than monitoring empty space. The Commonwealth had ruled thousands of worlds for 12 millennia. They'd discovered and welcomed countless species into their civilization, but this sector remained stubbornly devoid of intelligent life. "Sir," called Officer Thane from communications, his tentacles moving frantically over controls. "Detecting unusual readings." Vexar moved to examine the displays. "Define unusual." "Energy signatures, sir. They don't match anything in our databases. The pattern is massive." Kyra's head swiveled toward them, compound eyes reflecting concern. "Massive how?" "Like nothing I've ever encountered," Thane replied, voice rising. "Energy output exceeds our measurement scales." Vexar frowned, studying the main display. Numbers and graphs showed wave patterns that made no sense. Could it be natural phenomenon? Unknown stellar activity? "Negative, sir," Kyra said, her claws clicking rapidly on her console. "The pattern is too regular, too controlled. This is artificial." Ice crystallized in the control room atmosphere. In all their years monitoring space, they'd never detected readings like these. "Distance?" Vexar asked quietly. 15 light hours in closing, Kyra reported. "Whatever it is, it's heading directly toward Commonwealth space." Vexar felt his dual hearts accelerating. A new species was always exciting, but these readings suggested something far more advanced than the usual primitives they encountered. "Sir," Thane spoke again, tentacles trembling, "should I contact Commonwealth Command?" Vexar considered this. The Commonwealth had strict protocols for first contact, diplomatic teams assembled, translators prepared, proper welcomes arranged, but that took days, and whatever approached would arrive much sooner. "Not yet," decided Vexar. "Let's gather more data first. I won't trigger alarms over sensor malfunction." But even as he spoke, Vexar knew this was no malfunction. The readings were too consistent, too powerful. Something was coming. Hours passed as the crew monitored the approaching signal. Energy readings only strengthened, confirming whatever headed their way was real and enormous. "Sir," Kyra called out, dread evident in her voice, "getting detailed readings now. The object appears artificial, definitely a spacecraft." "Size estimate?" Kyra's claws stopped clicking. She stared at her screen for a long moment before responding. "Sir, the readings indicate this vessel is over 18 kilometers in length." Silence fell like a physical weight. The largest Commonwealth ships barely reached 3 kilometers. Even the massive dreadnoughts protecting core worlds were only 4 kilometers bow to stern. An 18-kilometer ship was beyond comprehension. "Verify your sensors," Vexar ordered, but his voice lacked conviction. Kyra ran scans 3 times. Each time results remained identical. "Confirmed, sir. 18.4 kilometers in length. Mass readings suggest extremely dense construction. This thing is built like a fortress." Vexar felt confidence draining away. Commonwealth first contact procedures were designed for primitive species flying small, weak vessels, not for this. "Sir," Thane's voice was barely audible, "detecting weapons signatures." "How many?" I can't count them all, sir. Weapons ports covering the entire hull. Hundreds, maybe thousands." The control room fell silent except for the hum of equipment. In all Commonwealth history, no species had ever approached their space with such overwhelming firepower. "Sir," Kyra spoke slowly, "what should we do?"
Vexar stared at the impossible readings. His training said follow protocol, contact command, wait for orders. But his pride as a Commonwealth officer said something different. The Commonwealth had never backed down from a challenge. They were rightful rulers of the galaxy, guardians of peace and order. No primitive species, regardless of ship size, could threaten that authority. "Prepare the diplomatic fleet," he ordered finally. "Standard first contact formation." "Sir," Thane looked confused, "shouldn't we wait for reinforcements?" 15 ships should be more than sufficient, said Vexar with forced confidence, even against a large vessel. The truth was, Vexar couldn't imagine any species building a ship that could threaten the Commonwealth forces. Their technology was millennia beyond most civilizations. Their shields were impenetrable, their weapons devastatingly accurate. Size meant nothing against superior technology. Within hours, 15 Commonwealth cruisers had assembled near the monitoring station. Each ship was a masterpiece of engineering, sleek and deadly, their crews experienced veterans who'd handled dozens of first contacts. As they moved into formation, Vexar felt confidence returning. The approaching ship might be large, but it was still one ship against 15 of the Commonwealth's finest. "All ships ready to report, sir," came the report. "Excellent. Set intercept course. Let's welcome our new neighbors." The fleet moved out, drives leaving blue-white trails in darkness. Behind them, the monitoring station continued tracking the approaching energy signature. Readings grew stronger by the hour, and new details became clear. Kyra remained at her post, studying data with growing unease. The approaching ship wasn't just large, it was dense beyond anything she'd ever seen. Energy readings suggested power systems that defied understanding. And the weapons, there were so many that her computer couldn't track them all. She thought about contacting Commander Vexar with her concerns, but decided against it. He'd made his decision. She was just a sensor operator. But as she watched readings continue climbing, Kyra couldn't shake the feeling they were all making a terrible mistake. The Commonwealth had encountered thousands of species across millennia, but none had ever approached with such obvious military capability. This ship was different, and that difference terrified her more than she cared to admit. The Contact. Captain Marcus Rivera stood on the bridge of the UES Titan's Fist, studying tactical displays with practiced calm. After 8 months of deep space travel, they were finally approaching what scientists call active galactic space. "Sir, detecting artificial signals ahead. Multiple sources. Looks like we found our neighbors," reported Lieutenant Sofia Martinez from sensors. Rivera nodded slowly. Humanity's first contact with alien intelligence. The Titan's Fist had been sent specifically for this purpose, to represent Earth and her colonies in whatever lay beyond their corner of the galaxy. "How many sources?" 15 distinct signatures, sir. They appear to be spacecraft in formation. They're heading toward us. Weapons status. "All systems armed and ready," reported Chief Tactical Officer James Park. "But they're not targeting us yet. Formation suggests they're trying to intercept our course." Rivera walked to the captain's throne, a massive seat designed to withstand the incredible forces the Titan's Fist could generate. 18 kilometers of human engineering and determination. The Titan's Fist was humanity's answer to unknown dangers of deep space. When first long-range probes detected signs of advanced alien civilizations, Earth's leaders decided to meet them as equals. The result? The Colossus-class warship program, designed to ensure humanity would never be seen as weak or primitive. "Sir, incoming transmission," announced Communications Officer Lisa Chen. "Strange signal, broadcasting on multiple frequencies simultaneously. Can you decode it?"
"Working on it, sir. Computer is analyzing patterns now." Chen's brow furrowed in concentration. "Got it. Some kind of universal translator matrix. Very sophisticated." Rivera smiled slightly. At least their new neighbors were prepared for communication with unknown species. A good sign. "Put it through." The main view screen flickered, showing the interior of an alien bridge. Rivera found himself looking at a cobalt-scaled humanoid with 4 arms and large dark eyes. The being wore what appeared to be military uniform. "Greetings, unknown vessel," the alien said, voice translating clearly. "I am Commander Vexar of the Galactic Commonwealth Fleet. You are entering Commonwealth space without authorization." Rivera stepped forward, ensuring visibility. "Greetings, Commander Vexar. I am Captain Marcus Rivera of the United Earthship Titan's Fist. We come in peace, seeking contact with other intelligent species." Vexar's expression shifted slightly. "Your vessel is unusually large for a first contact mission. We wanted to ensure we could defend ourselves if necessary," Rivera replied honestly. "We had no way of knowing what we might encounter." There was a pause, as Vexar seemed to consider this. When he spoke again, his tone had become more formal, more demanding. "As representatives of the Galactic Commonwealth, we welcome you to this region. However, your vessel must submit to inspection before proceeding further." Rivera felt warning prickle at the back of his neck. The alien's tone had shifted from greeting to command very quickly. "I appreciate the welcome, Commander, but I'm afraid we can't submit to inspection. We're on a peaceful mission, but we're not prepared to surrender our vessel to unknown parties." "You misunderstand," Vexar said, edge sharpening in his voice. "This is not a request. All vessels entering Commonwealth space must be inspected. It is the law." "Whose law?" Rivera asked calmly. "We're not citizens of your Commonwealth, Commander. We're explorers from Earth, and we follow Earth's laws." On the view screen, Rivera could see Vexar's arms moving in what appeared to be agitation. "You are now in Commonwealth space, human. Our laws apply to all who enter our territory." Rivera glanced at his tactical officer, who shook his head slightly. The alien ships still weren't targeting them, but their formation had shifted to surround the Titan's Fist. Classic intimidation maneuver. "Commander Vexar," Rivera said carefully, "perhaps we should arrange proper diplomatic contact. I'm sure our governments can work out details of our presence here." "There are no details to work out," Vexar replied sharply. "You will submit to inspection or be forced to submit. The choice is yours." The transmission ended abruptly. Rivera looked around at his crew, seeing a mix of concern and anger on their faces. "Analysis, Commander Park." "Sir, they've moved into attack formation, classic pincer movement designed to hit us from multiple angles simultaneously." Park studied his tactical display. "Their ships are about 3 kilometers long each, heavily armed. But sir," "But what?" "They're positioning themselves like they expect us to be helpless against their combined firepower. It's the formation you'd use against a much smaller, weaker vessel." Rivera nodded. The aliens had looked at the Titan's Fist and seen only size, not understanding what that size represented. They had no idea that humanity's approach to warfare was fundamentally different from what they were used to. "Incoming transmission, sir," Chen announced. Vexar appeared again, expression harder. "Human vessel, you have 90 seconds to lower shields and prepare for boarding, or we will take action." Rivera straightened his shoulders. "Commander Vexar, I strongly advise against hostile action. We have no wish to fight, but we will defend ourselves if attacked." "Your threats are meaningless," Vexar sneered. "You are 1 ship against 15. Surrender now and you will be treated fairly." The transmission ended again. Rivera turned to his crew, seeing them all waiting for orders. These were good people, hand-picked for this mission. They deserved a captain who would protect them. "Sir," Park said quietly, "their weapons are charging." Rivera studied the tactical display. Enemy formation. 15 ships against 1. In the aliens' experience, that was probably overwhelming odds. But they didn't understand what they were facing. The Titan's Fist wasn't just large, it was dense. Every meter of hull was packed with weapons, shields, armor, and redundant systems. Humanity had built it with one guiding principle. If they were going to meet aliens, they would meet them from a position of strength. "Human hands, this is the captain," Rivera announced shipwide. "We are about to be attacked by alien vessels. This is not what we wanted, but we will defend ourselves if attacked." Alarms sounded throughout the ship as 20,000 crew members moved to combat positions. The Titan's Fist transformed from exploration vessel to weapon of war in minutes. "Shields at maximum," Park reported. "All weapon systems armed and ready." "Sir," Martinez called from sensors, "the alien ships are firing." On the view screen, Rivera could see bright flashes as Commonwealth ships unleashed their weapons.
Streams of plasma energy and particle beams crossed space, striking the Titan's fist shields with tremendous force. The massive human warship didn't even shudder. The alien weapons, impressive as they were, simply couldn't penetrate multi-layered defensive systems protecting the Colossus-class vessel. "Damage report," Rivera ordered. "No damage, sir," Park replied, amazed in his voice. "Shields holding at 97%. Their weapons barely scratched us." Rivera felt grim satisfaction. The aliens had made their choice. Now they would learn what humanity was capable of. "Open channel," he ordered. Vexar's face appeared on screen, but now the alien looked confused and worried. "Impossible," Vexar said. "Our weapons should have disabled your shields." "Commander Vexar," Rivera said calmly, "you have attacked a peaceful vessel. This is your only warning. Stand down immediately or face consequences." "You're bluffing," Vexar snarled. "No single ship can withstand combined firepower of a Commonwealth battle group." "You're about to find out," Rivera replied. He turned to Park. "Target the lead vessel. Point defense turret 7. Single shot." Park's eyes widened slightly. Point defense turrets were designed to shoot down missiles and fighters. Using one against a capital ship was almost insulting, but he followed orders. "Target locked, sir. Fire." A single beam of coherent energy lanced out from the Titan's fist, striking the lead Commonwealth ship midship. The alien ship simply vaporized. One moment present, the next an expanding cloud of superheated gas. The silence on the alien channel was deafening. Rivera could see Vexar staring in shock at something off-screen, probably his tactical display showing the complete destruction of one of his ships. "Captain Rivera," Vexar's voice was barely a whisper. What did you do?" "That was a point defense weapon, Commander, designed for shooting down small targets. Would you like to see what our actual weapons can do?" The remaining 14 Commonwealth ships had stopped firing. Rivera could see them on tactical displays, hanging motionless as their crews tried to process what they'd witnessed. "Impossible," Vexar said, more to himself than Rivera. "No species has technology this advanced. The Commonwealth has ruled the galaxy for 12 millennia. "Commander Vexar," Rivera said firmly, "you attacked us without provocation. We responded with minimal force to defend ourselves. I suggest we end this before it escalates." For a long moment, the alien captain said nothing. When he finally spoke, his voice shook. What do you want?" "The same thing I wanted when this started," Rivera replied. "Peaceful contact between our species, but that will have to wait until your superiors can meet with proper diplomatic representatives." Rivera gestured to Chen, who cut transmission. The bridge fell silent as crew processed what had happened. Their first contact with alien intelligence had resulted in the destruction of an alien warship. "Sir," Park said quietly, "should we pursue the retreating vessels?" Rivera looked at tactical display. The remaining Commonwealth ships were indeed retreating, moving away from the Titan's fist as quickly as drives could carry them. "No, let them go. They have a story to tell, and their leaders need to hear it." Rivera settled back into his captain's throne, knowing everything had just changed. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity had arrived, and they were not the primitive species others might have expected. The Reckoning. 6 months had passed since Commander Vexar's disastrous first contact. The emergency council chamber on Commonwealth Prime buzzed with nervous energy as representatives from dozens of species gathered around the circular table. Holographic displays showed tactical recordings of the encounter, playing the devastating scene repeatedly. High Chancellor Selix, a tall crystalline being whose body reflected the chamber's lights in rainbow patterns, stood at the head of the table.
"We have all seen the recordings," Selix announced, voice resonating with harmonic undertones. "The question before us is simple. How do we respond?" "Respond?" interrupted Councillor Thrain, his reptilian features showing confusion. "They destroyed only one ship. Perhaps this was a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" Selix's crystalline form pulsed with anger. "They vaporized a Commonwealth cruiser with what they claimed was their weakest weapon. If that's their point defense system, what might their actual weapons be capable of?" Around the table, representatives shifted uncomfortably. The Commonwealth had faced challenges before, but never anything like this.
For 12,000 years, they'd been supreme authority in the galaxy. Every species they encountered was either grateful for Commonwealth protection or quickly convinced of its necessity. Admiral Drexen, commander of the Commonwealth's main battle fleet, activated his personal display. "I've analyzed weapons signatures from the engagement. Energy output is unlike anything in our databases. The focused coherence suggests technology that shouldn't be possible." "All technology is possible given sufficient time," said Dr. Vinthar, the Commonwealth's chief science advisor. Her multiple tentacles gestured at the holographic replay. "What concerns me is the efficiency. They achieved total molecular disruption with a single shot. Our shields wouldn't have lasted any longer." Silence fell as implications sank in. If their own shields were useless against human weapons, their technological advantage had evaporated. "What do we know about their home system?" asked Counselor Mirren. Admiral Drexen brought up stellar charts. Long-range probes identified their point of origin, a system they call Sol, containing 8 planets. The third planet appears to be their homeworld, designated Earth in their language. Population estimates? Preliminary scans suggest approximately 9 billion individuals on the homeworld alone. They also have colonies on several other planets and moons within their system. Celix's form flickered with concern. 9 billion. That's larger than most Commonwealth member species' total populations. "It gets worse," Drexen continued. "We're detecting massive industrial activity throughout their system. Shipyards, mining operations, manufacturing facilities. Their industrial capacity appears to exceed anything we'd seen." "Surely you're overestimating," Counselor Thrain protested. "The evidence is clear," Dr. Vinthar interjected. "These humans developed differently than any species we've encountered. Most civilizations focus on intellectual advancement or spiritual growth once they achieve space travel. These humans focused on industrial expansion and military capability." "But why?" asked Mirren. The question hung unanswered. As debate raged, new intelligence reports arrived. Commonwealth scouts maintaining careful distance from human space reported disturbing developments. Multiple massive energy signatures moving through the Sol system. More ships, apparently as large as the first, were active and mobile. "How many ships do they have?" Celix demanded. "Conservative estimates suggest at least 40 vessels of similar size," Drexen replied grimly, "and there are indications of even larger ships under construction." The chamber fell silent. 40 ships like the Titan's Fist could devastate the Commonwealth's entire fleet. As if summoned by their discussion, urgent communication arrived from border regions. Human ships conducting systematic scans of Commonwealth territory, mapping every strategic asset, every defensive position, every major trade route. "They're preparing for something," Dr. Vinthar said. "Military occupation," Admiral Drexen stated bluntly. "This is classic pre-invasion intelligence gathering." The word invasion sent chills through the command center. Before anyone could respond, alarm sounded. Priority communication from the Outer Rim. "Commonwealth Command, this is Monitor Station Epsilon," came a panicked voice. "Multiple massive energy signatures approaching, each one over 20 kilometers long." The command center erupted in controlled chaos. "How many contacts?" Drexen demanded. 3 primary signatures, sir, but they're just sitting there, like they're waiting." "Making a statement," Drexen grimly said, "showing us they can position massive fleets anywhere in Commonwealth space without being stopped." As if summoned by his words, a new communications signal appeared, direct transmission from the human fleet. The image showed a human officer in crisp military uniform. Eyes held confidence that was deeply unsettling. "Greetings, Galactic Commonwealth. I am Admiral Diana Chen of the United Earth Navy. I believe we need to talk." Celix stepped forward. "Admiral Chen, I am High Chancellor Celix, leader of the Galactic Commonwealth. Your ships have violated our territorial sovereignty." "Have they?" Chen asked with a slight smile. "By whose authority do you claim sovereignty over this region?" "By right of discovery and 12,000 years of peaceful governance," Celix replied.
Interesting. And who granted you this right? Was it the species you encountered when you first achieved space travel? Or did you simply declare yourselves rulers and enforce that claim through military power? The question struck at the heart of Commonwealth authority. The Commonwealth has brought peace and prosperity to thousands of worlds, Councillor Thrain interjected. I'm sure you have, Chen replied, and now humanity will bring our own form of peace and prosperity to this region. The difference is we're not asking your permission. Are you declaring war? Admiral Drexen asked. Chen's expression grew serious. War? No, Admiral. War implies both sides have realistic chance of victory. What I'm declaring is humanity's independence from any external authority over our expansion. You cannot simply ignore galactic law, Celix protested. Galactic law? Chen's smile returned. You mean Commonwealth law? The rules you created to maintain your own power? Humanity was never party to those agreements. We don't recognize your authority over us. The implications were staggering. What do you want? Celix asked finally. Simple coexistence, Chen replied. Humanity will continue to expand as we see fit. The Commonwealth can continue governing those species that choose to remain under your authority. As long as you don't interfere with human interests, we have no conflict. And if we do interfere? Drexen asked. Chen's expression hardened. Then you'll discover why humanity builds such large ships. Admiral, I suggest you don't make that choice. The transmission ended. The Commonwealth faced a choice that would define their future, either adapt to a new reality where they were no longer supreme power, or fight a war they might not be able to win. The new order. 6 more months passed. The galaxy had begun adapting to its new reality. High Chancellor Celix stood in the council chambers, reviewing reports that told a story no one wanted to acknowledge but could no longer ignore. 19 star systems had declared independence from Commonwealth governance. 27 more had requested protection agreements with human forces. Trade routes operating under Commonwealth oversight for millennia were now patrolled by human warships. For the first time in 12,000 years, species were choosing an alternative, and that alternative was working. Human administration was faster, more efficient, more effective than Commonwealth governance in virtually every measurable category. When Celix finally addressed the council, her words carried the weight of inevitable change. The age of Commonwealth supremacy is over. The age of humanity has begun. The only question is whether we will be their partners or their obstacles. As debate raged, more reports arrived. Human industrial output had increased 400% in 6 months. They were building ships faster than intelligence could count them. Humanity now operated at least 200 vessels of cruiser class or larger, battle groups stationed in 19 sectors, patrol fleets covering major trade routes, construction facilities that could triple their fleet within a year. The galaxy had changed, and everyone knew, whether through negotiation or conquest, accommodation or resistance, humanity had announced their arrival as a galactic superpower. The Commonwealth could adapt or be swept aside. Either way, the universe had transformed in ways no one could fully comprehend. Somewhere in the depths of space, human ships continued their methodical expansion, carrying with them the promise of a new galactic order. An order where Earth's children would never bow to alien authority. An order built on strength, efficiency, and the determination of a species that had fought its way from caves to the stars. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity had arrived, and they were here to stay. They thought their ancient authority would make us submit. They thought their numbers would make us fearful. They thought their technology would make us helpless. They were wrong about everything. The greatest empires are not those who rule longest, but those wise enough to recognize when their time has passed. High Chancellor Celix, Address to the Commonwealth Council, Year 1.